Hey guys, welcome back. We're going through yet another one of Chris from Good Looking Losers articles, one of the biggest ones that helped me. This time, we're going to look at one that is centered around one of his core ideas. So this one is called How to Screen and Filter Girls Out Instead of Being Rejected. Now, this is basically his most important contribution to like getting laid and girls in general, I think, other than like look good, talk to girls. His other thing is screening. And now screening is the idea that you are basically, when you go up and you approach a girl, you are testing for availability and if they like you. Firstly, you're looking for girls that are like into you, obviously. The other one is sexual availability. So you're not just looking for girls that like you, you're looking for girls that you can actually progress with. You're not just like, oh, he talks about like, I hope she likes me game. And if you're going in there with like this attitude of, oh, I really hope she likes me, let's make her like me, which is like what most pickup artists used to say, it's a poor way of doing it. Instead, you try and basically talk to as many girls as you can and you find the ones that are already into you naturally and appreciate how you look and are available. That is typically what happens, because most of the time when you get rejected, it's because they're not available. And we'll touch on that in a article in the future. Some girls just aren't available. They're married, they've got a boyfriend, they're not feeling up to it. Maybe they just don't like you. Screening gets around all of this because you do things where basically you learn whether or not she's into you via the screening. And he says that that's why he preaches like being direct and honest. And obviously nowadays we all want to be direct and honest. I think most of us care a lot more about honesty and not being like an indirect, like passive kind of approach. And being direct and honest will screen. So it screens really hard and makes the girl like make a decision. You know, it like tests whether or not she is going to be a girl that says yes. And you don't have to worry about like, you don't have to get like an hour, like half an hour of a conversation down the line before you find out she's not gonna like go any further with you. So that is why this is like such a genius idea, because it basically it marries you to the numbers game, but in a way that you can like with an actual plan. So the better you get at this, the better you get at realizing whether girls are a yes or a no quicker. And that's why it removes the entire kind of idea of rejection, because rejections only hurt when you've invested time, in my opinion. I've done cold approach where you can just rock up, you can say, hi, I think you're cute. And they go like, no, sorry. And you just walk away and you're over it like that. It's way worse if you've like put time and effort, like in social circles. If you've been hanging out with this girl for like weeks or months, whatever, and eventually you tell her that you like her and she's like, no, sorry. How much worse does that feel? That feels so much like orders of magnitude worse. And instead, by screening, what we're doing is getting to like brass tacks really quickly. That's why he was always preaching direct game. That's why back he was preaching that you try and like touch them quicker, like with like they grab their hand or whatever, and if they pull away, obviously you know they're not interested. That was like the old way. That's the old way of doing things. I think that's a little bit. There are things he used to teach back in 2013 that aren't really maybe acceptable and probably weren't acceptable back then. Like he had like this thing where you go up and hug people randomly, and like when you're drunk in a club, you can maybe get away with it, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because it's not necessary. You can pretty much do all your screening verbally, which is like how I would suggest anyone who like, if you read his old content, understand that things have changed and stuff that you could get away with back then, even though it wasn't technically probably okay, you can't really get away with now anywhere. So do everything verbally. It all still works verbally. Like one of the main things he said is like, you're supposed to get rejected. So that's like the idea of like, this is about getting rejected as fast and as efficiently as possible. You are meant to filter girls out that you are not interested in and get rejected by the ones that don't like you. That is what your aim is. So you build everything around screening, which means that this is like, automatically you get rid of the girls who aren't interested, and you can make the decision of like whether or not you keep going with girls who seem like they might be like a waste of time. Or yeah, time wasters is a big one. Like I found I mostly like to filter out people that might waste my time. But yeah, other than that, there are other like small things I do where I have like a list in my head, not on a piece of paper, of like things that I want from a girl, which I include in my screening. But yeah, yeah. And he goes into some painful experiences about like not filtering out girls. And if you have too many like maybe girls or girls that like are faking interest almost for attention, that's when you start getting hurt on the like regularly. So this is why screening is an incredible protective tool, and it teaches you how to approach the numbers game properly. That's why I love this article. Go and have a read. I'll put it in the description below. Alright guys, see me in the next one.